What's up, everybody? Man, listen, thank y'all so much again for tuning in. This is actually our first official video.
Yes.
Multiple.
Well, it's not really even official because it's still being shot with an iPhone. And we have some upgrading to do. We actually have the upgrade. We just don't have a battery for it right now.
The battery died. We've been traveling and getting the batteries charged. I thought the battery was charged. You know, I'll take all the responsibility, of course, for it. Because listen, I'm gonna pass off 10% to my son, but none of that's important. We're here because this is the Fresh Life podcast, and we're talking about something that, of course, many of us deal with by a majority. Actually, it's the largest diagnosed illness in America, and that's mental illness. And so this is something that, we all, to some degree, know someone or suffer with ourselves. But we want to actually speak to it from a very personal space because I think it's important to put faces in places where, people act like they're strangers too.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And sometimes when we hear the word like mental illness, we think of prescriptions, we think of hospitalization, we think of doctors, which is all very much so true in a lot of cases. You have, it's a wide range of different mental illnesses and the severity of them. And some do need, formal treatments and things like that. But I think I will go on and venture to say that we all have some capacity of mental issues. Maybe not illness, but definitely mental issues. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, your house could be clean, like all the way through, but there's a corner that you haven't been able to sweep through.
Yeah.
Because when you're living and you're trying to, figure this life thing out, you come across relationships, you have stuff in your past from your parents or friendships or, something that happened at work, even just the way you self-perceive yourself. It's all mental clutter that we have to fight as hard as we can to keep clean, sweep out so we don't start piling up head trash.
Yes, I totally agree. And to your point about what you just said, I think that so often people don't even realize that some of their mental issues are fear or negative thinking or having a bad attitude over things that really doesn't cause for it. So like something happens and your reaction does not does not equal what happened. So things like that too, I think people need to realize. So those are mental issues too. Like if fear is paralyzing you to follow your dreams or go after your goals or to do something that you really want to do, but you can't seem to get over that, I think that's like a mental block there, that is something that you need to work through. That's also a mental block that could affect your relationships. So that's what we're here to talk about today. So it's not only the big ones like schizophrenia or multiple personality disorder. Like those are big mental health issues that, when you think of mental health, some people just kind of go there, or like, what do they call like the places where people actually go? Like
treatment centers.
Yeah, treatment centers and things like that. Like we have all these images, but sometimes it's just anxiety that we suffer from or negative thinking, like I said earlier.
So, I have, even been diagnosed with my own form of mental illness. And that is, and here's the thing, like Jasmine said, there are mental illnesses that we focus on, because we see them outwardly. And again, that could be drug abuse, having a drug addiction problem could be an issue. But we also see, of course, like Jazz said, the schizophrenia, because people are on the street, often homeless. Maybe they're suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, from maybe serving, in our military. We see those things outwardly. So when we talk about mental illness, we see those people. But if you really look inside your own self and look inside your own closet, you deal with some stuff too.
Right.
And that's whether that's what I was diagnosed with, which was ADHD. And that's something for me that has been, a journey because, I often couldn't put together the pieces as to why I was unable to fully concentrate for long periods of time. Why couldn't I, have so great a follow through? I've always been, curious, creative, aspired to, be successful. So I didn't have a laziness trait within me.
Right.
But I suffered from I guess the sequence of diligence, being able to stick to something and continue through for long periods of time. Because oftentimes my brain would just, kind of do its own thing.
Right.
And when you're in school, especially for Black boys, this is really what, kind of happens. When you're in school, you're depicted as a distraction. You're depicted as bad. You're not fitting into the mold when truthfully, the education hasn't been attuned to children who suffer from, ADHD or ADD.
Right. No, I totally agree. So let me ask you some questions about that. You were diagnosed with adult ADHD, correct? And so give us like a little, like how you just did about being a kid, growing up, and then, well, okay, I guess you kind of just already did that. So my question to you now is, what made you get tested? We were married, and my memory's just not all the way there about it.
So I think that what it was that I was coming to the realization that in all my effort, I was either forgetting something or I didn't have the follow through, or I would get bored with employment. It was these things that were kind of consistent. They were happening onto me. I wasn't participating in them, cognitively. They were happening onto me. So I would just wonder, like, this is a good job. Like, why am I not interested anymore? Like, why do I want to leave? Like, what is it? There's something wrong about me. And I would always outwardly blame the job. But it started to become a thing where, like, okay, this is me. Like, I enjoy writing, so why is it that I have a tough time getting at the writing table and starting? Like right now, even being in school, it takes me 40 minutes to get into the groove of the homework.
Right.
I'm on ESPN. I had to watch a YouTube video. Like I'm doing all, and I've become very accustomed to it, but it's the way that I flow. And it's something that, especially when you're creative, you blame a lot of this stuff on being creative.
Yeah.
But truthfully, my brain is just kind of a scatterbox.
Right. And I remember like you did like you can go and take like these ADHD quizzes, right? Or something like that. And I remember you took one.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like confirmed a lot of how you were feeling. And then I think you were meeting with your therapist at the time. And then she recommended you actually get tested.
Yeah.
And you got tested by a psychiatrist.
Yeah. And I scored like fairly high. Yeah. Like it was like no doubt that I was dealing with, ADHD.
Yeah. So for me, my mental issues that I deal a lot with is negative thinking, which creates anxiety and fear. And I think those things and working through those things and figuring out, okay, how can I get in front of that? How can I make sure that I am doing some work that I need to do to make sure I'm having positive thoughts? So what does that look like? A lot of that is journaling for me. A lot of that is affirmations for me. And then also like my anxiety, knowing when it's creeping up on me, knowing what type of situations make my anxiety more increased. Like when I have a lot on my plate, and I feel very stressed, that increases my anxiety. But my anxiety plays out different for me and Chris. So we're going to talk about how our mental illnesses or our mental issues affect our relationship and what are some strategies that we do to kind of get in front of them before they kind of take over. We're on a journey, right? We're on a journey in doing this, but we're realizing some tools work better than others. So,
well, have you found anxiety? Because that's what we're talking. Now you're saying, anxiety is one of them. And so if you're suffering from anxiety, like it's not to feel bad about it, but it's to say, if there's a name for it, there's a treatment for it.
Right.
And so have you found there to be, a real true treatment and behavior towards like solving that on a day-to-day basis?
Well, for me, have a true treatment. Okay, so my treatments look different, right? Depending on the severity of my anxiety. So if my anxiety is extremely bad and I can't seem to control it, I will take a prescribed Xanax, which is I have a monthly subscription of it, and I probably take
like Sports Illustrated. No.
What do you mean?
Like a subscription? Like
oh, did I say it wrong?
No, I was just.
It's a prescription.
Yeah,
Am I saying it right?
Yeah,
I'm messing up. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you. So anyways, So I have a supply of 30 days, and I probably get that refilled every 4 months. So that's how often I probably have to take it. So,
can we talk about that time I took a Xanax?
Because your head hurt.
So we didn't have any pain medicine.
And someone suggested
that this is a relief. We're out, eating tacos with some friends. And someone said this is a relief.
Yeah.
And I took, I guess, these Xanax, they come in, I guess 2 pieces. Or if you just got that much anxiety, you can take the whole thing.
I have the lowest, I have 0.25, so mine's really low.
You take the whole thing, and we sleep to Friday. And I took a half and was asleep at the table. Nodding off.
We are at dinner with friends, like a few friends, and he is knocked out at the table.
Couldn't wake up.
Yeah.
But, the Xanax, definitely brought down that feeling. Whatever it was, the head, whatever was going on in my head disappeared because I disappeared.
Yeah.
We both disappeared. The headache disappeared and I disappeared. That's all good.
Yeah. So they don't do me like that. They don't knock me out. If I take 2, because if my anxiety is really bad, I'll take 2, which would end up being a 0.5. Then I will be sleepy, knocked out. I just need to go to sleep. But anyway, so mine is also anxiety, negative thinking, fear. And then I will also say moodiness. I am very moody. I understand that about myself. I'm not sure why I'm so moody. Sorry, my phone keeps going off. I'm not sure why I'm so moody. I don't know if it's hormonal, and I need to kind of look into that. I know there's a lot of hormonal treatments out there, treatment centers that will help balance your hormones. I'm also on birth control. I don't know what that plays into it, but or how that plays into it, but yes. So that's a lot, right? And that's on a day-to-day basis that I am trying to balance that. And I think that's what mental health is. It's a good balance act.
And it's not to say, that you dealing with the hormones is a mental illness, but like Jazz said, to deal with it every day is you're a custodian of your own mental health.
Right.
And I think that you have to, if you're responsible, especially if you're around other people constantly, if you have family or you're married or you have children, I think you owe it to them to deal with your own mental issues.
Yes, I think it is wholeheartedly your responsibility. So
now, why though?
Because your energy affects other people. Your decisions affect other people. Your forgetfulness affects other people. Your distractibility affects other people. It is consequences to all of this. So if I am moody and I can't really place why I'm moody, so it might be more like a hormonal thing if something in my environment didn't create that. And that feeling makes me even more upset, right? Something's wrong with me. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. That's irritating to me. Chris is asking me. I don't have an answer. I feel crazy. And what do I need to do to break that cycle? Because it's affecting my husband. It's affecting me. It's affecting how I'm parenting the kids. And I'm responsible for that. Nobody can make me all of a sudden feel good. So I have to use tools that I've acquired along the way to switch my energy and making me feel better.
And let me even say that I believe that when your children are raised around your issues, so it could be my ADHD, it could be Jasmine's anxiety, it could be, it could be anything of those areas. I think that has to fall on them to some degree. Mm-hmm. So now they're raised, feeling anxious themselves. Because, now they're on pins and needles a little bit. Maybe, my sons don't see how to follow through step by step and have this completion narrative that they need to see. So we have to almost overtly help them, out of that, so for instance, if I have a temper issue and I say something to Caleb that in my temper, I didn't necessarily mean, well, I can say, man, I got a temper, and he doesn't care about that. But what I need to do is to overtly correct it, go back more constantly than other people may and say, hey, son, my bad. I'm sorry. Right. So that way I'm at least correcting my issue.
Right. Exactly. And I also try to do a good job of explaining to the kids if my attitude is off or my behavior is off, that is mommy is not you.
Mm-hmm.
So mommy isn't feeling well. Mommy has a bit of anxiety, or mommy's feeling very overwhelmed. So mommy just needs a break. Or it's not you. I'm sorry that I'm snappy or I'm a little irritable. Mommy just feels very overwhelmed. It's not you. And so, like, they're kids. They're human beings, and they're going to have to learn to navigate and also to communicate how they're feeling to other people as well.
And I would also say, like, one more thing. I think that there's this statement that we've all said, like, you're giving me anxiety.
Right.
And the thing is, like, no one's giving you anxiety.
Yeah, that's so true.
Your frame of how you're framing this situation, how you're framing this moment, is causing you to have this inner feeling. No one's making me speed up, when I'm speeding up, with ADHD. It's my lack of planning. It is my, it is how I'm framing the events in my life that I've not, planned out correctly. It's that's on me. It's you have to the beginning of mental health is self-responsibility. You have to take full responsibility for what's going on in your head, how you're feeling.
Right.
And I think that's the beginning of the game change.
No, I totally agree. Okay, so with that being said, let's talk about how this plays out in our marriage and our relationships with each other and other people. So I'll go first, and then I want you to chime in. So for example, I know that how I feel in the morning really sets the tone for my day. So I know that if I wake up to children at the side of my bed, that is going to irritate me immediately. Like, I will already feel like my morning has been hijacked. I will feel like as soon as I open my eyes, I have to do for other people and I have no time for Jasmine. And that is very disheartening to me, because making time for myself is very important to get my mental state together. And I need to do that in the morning. So a lot of times Chris jokes because he literally wakes up by himself. And he wakes up by himself because I have to get up.
Around in the world, and nobody's here.
No one is here. Where is everybody at? And sometimes I'm gone when Chris wakes up. Like, I'm already at the gym. So
just have to say that I wake up at like 12.
No. He wakes up like 7, like a normal responsible human being. But I'm gone. Oh, sorry. You ain't when I get loud.
It's okay. No.
Sorry. Okay.
Give me a little anxiety.
Right. Okay. But I'm.
That's not true. She didn't give me anxiety. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. What am I trying to say is this. I have to figure out, what do I need to do in order to get my mental state in line? Because I know, like I just said, waking up to kids or waking up unexpectedly or waking up to JoJo being wet, like all of those things will frustrate me, or I will feel like my morning has already been hijacked. So I try to wake up an hour before the kids get up. My morning routine is everything for me. It is the glue to my mental health. My morning routine. So what does my morning routine consist of? I get up an hour before the kids, or 2, really, honestly. And I try to always do my meditation, which I just try to really clear my mind and not think at all, just focus on my breathing. My prayer and devotion, always. My prayer and devotion is also probably the glue that keeps me in a really good mental headspace, because just being connected to God and just feeling that connectedness early in the morning really sets the tone for my day. It is also my affirmations and journaling. If I could journal out like things that I learned, or like reviewing things, or just things that come to my mind, that's very important for me. It helps me also process any life events that's happened, as well as my affirmations. So just reminding myself who I am to get rid of any negative head trash.
So
how does that help our relationship, my morning routine? And then also just speak to my moodiness, and what have you seen me try to do to correct that?
So when it comes to your morning routine, I know the difference between, when your morning routine has flourished and when it hasn't. And it's not to say that you just totally derail, like, right. I mean, you're not like Rain Man, like, no, but it's very important to you, and I know that just getting those things out the way in your day that are important to you before others interrupt. Because the thing about children is they control the narrative. They control the timeline. They're always asking for something. They need you,
especially our kids.
They need you to do for them
Yeah.
In ways that are true.
Yeah.
You know, they can't get up in the cabin and do stuff, you
Right.
know. So here you're working, you're focused, and they want something else. Or they can't figure out how to work the TV, or it's always something that's interrupting you. So to you, that can probably, you know, fester that anxiety. It's like, okay, I'm not getting things done.
Right.
I'm constantly being displaced.
Right.
I need this time. And you know, the fact that you get up early to focus on it, you know, because you're being responsible, is kudos to you.
Thank you.
It's important to me because it allows us to flow easier.
Yes.
I know that she spent that time. I don't feel as terrible when the kids do come home or they are here, because I know that she's had that time. And so it allows us like margin in our day. But because Jasmine works from home, if she doesn't have that, then next thing you know,
my day's on top of
our day's on top of her, it's on top of us, and it's kind of just
on top of us,
all over the place.
Yeah, no, it is. It really is, because once I'm filled with anxiety, it spills like a natural oil disaster. No.
Natural oil disaster. It's okay. We working through it.
We are always going to be working through it, okay? That's the key in life.
So, you know, I mean, I think that, you know, the portion of when you're married and you're dealing with someone, or you know, you don't have to even be married, but if you're dealing with someone that has anxiety issues, and they're dealing with them, you know, actively, patience is key.
Yes.
Seeing things from their perspective is key.
Yes.
And just helping them slow down and helping them reframe what they're experiencing is also key.
Yes.
I also think that a large part of, you know, what has helped me is try my best to listen before providing input. Because when a person is filled, and I've suffered with anxiety, you know, and I remember being at a job where, and again, this is where my ADHD comes in. So kind of like Jenga in a way. I remember being at a job and sitting at my desk, and I had wanted to be somewhere else, like so bad. And I was missing out on being at this place because I had to work. And I remember just having a panic attack, you know, like I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think about anything. My thoughts were just like a tornado. And I didn't need anybody to tell me what to do at that time. Like, I just need somebody to listen to me, to get this out, so that when I get it out, it's no longer swirling in my head.
And I think another thing is just to let the person that you're dealing with, whether a friend or family member or your spouse, that you're not tripping, right? I think so often someone could just be like, "Oh, you're tripping about this, Jasmine. Like, calm down. Like, you're gonna have enough time. You're going to get this done. Like, just think." I think Chris is very patient with me. Like, when I'm suffering from anxiety, he'll tell me, and this has really helped so many times, that just, you know how like on when we have iPhones, on our iPhone, on the calendar app, you can just scroll to the different months. And he was like, just visualize the calendar app, and it's March. Scroll down to June. Are you going to be over this? Is this really going to even matter then? Like, would you have figured this out? Is everything going to be okay? And like, I'm like, oh yes, in June it's going to be okay. And that's another good strategy that I use, that me and Chris talk a lot about, is 5 minutes, 5 months, 5 years. And especially when my anxiety is due to me feeling very overwhelmed. Will this matter in 5 hours? Will this matter in 5 weeks? Will this matter in 5 years? And I can really get a good grasp on things like, okay, this is not that big of a deal. Just breathe. It's going to be a hard day maybe, or it's going to be a hard couple of hours, but you're going to get through this. Tomorrow, this won't even matter. And I think most of the time it's like, because when I feel like when my to-do list is that big, yeah, today might be a tough day, but tomorrow you're going to go to bed. And Chris, you do this too. I'm going to sleep in my bed tonight. And tonight, this whole thing is going to be over.
Yeah, it's just reframing. Like, you have to be able to. So reframing is, right now, you know, my issues are in this frame, you know, like right here.
Yes.
But if I move this frame over to viewing it a completely different way, the issue didn't change, but I just moved the frame. I changed picture frames.
Yeah.
So now it looks completely different.
Yeah.
And I think if you're able to do them, and you can do that through journaling, you can do that through, you know, talking to somebody that you trust. there's ways you can reframe things, and it'll just look different.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be like how people always say, you know, oh man, I was late for work, and then you find out, you know, that there was this huge car accident, you know, on the same route that you take.
Right.
Well, that's someone reframing your situation. Yeah, you were late to work, man. That sucks. But man, you would have been probably in that car accident had you, you know, not been late.
Exactly.
So if you can reframe things, it allows you an opportunity to kind of press the reset button.
Yeah, I love it. So as far as how my moodiness has played out, how does that affect you?
In every way.
Okay, say more.
Because when someone is moody, they legit walk through the house and they throw pine needles all over the floor. And so now
Chris is the metaphor king, by the way, if you did not know that.
And so now whatever their issue is becomes yours.
And you stepping on it.
And you're stepping on it. But the problem is you don't know why they threw the pine needles on the floor. You don't know, you know, do they plan on cleaning them up? Do they plan on telling you why? You have no clue. The only thing is you're trying your best to walk carefully.
Which can create a sense of walking on eggshells.
Which, yeah, I mean, well, this case is pine needles because I can crush some eggshells. I don't want nothing to do with Jasmine's pine needles.
Why would you take the whole metaphor and switch it up like that? So it's not. So you did think about eggshells and you switched it up to pine needles.
Yeah. I mean, because when I'm at home, I walk barefoot. You know, eggshells is for the job. I work with my shoes. Pine needles is for at home.
Dang.
And when you walk in on pine needles, it's a lot more difficult, you know, because you want to engage with someone and you don't know how. You don't know what space to fit in. You're trying your best to not bump in. It's like being at a party that's busy and you're walking through, but you don't want to bump into people. You know, you're just trying to get to your destination. And that could be, you know, what are we doing tonight for dinner? Are you going to get the kids? Or, you know, did you pay that? And because you're trying to navigate through this really confined space that they've created out of, you know, their feelings and emotions, you don't get much done.
Yeah. What advice can you give to a husband or a wife that's partner has mood issues?
That's your day to be quiet.
Dang. Is that really
That's not necessarily true. What I will say is that it does help.
Well, what's your first question you always ask me when I'm moody? You always ask the same thing.
I just actually know, like what's going on? Like, are you okay?
Yeah, and then you always ask that. And
so then the response can vary. Yes. It could be like it was 10 minutes ago, 15, 20 minutes ago. Why do you keep asking me that? Or the reason that a person continues to ask you that is because you have not provided them any answers as to why the emotions that you are giving out, there's no clarity. So I like to know. So that way, if you say, hey, I ain't feeling the best, I got an attitude, cool. I'm just going to go in my wing of the house, my space, and I'm going to do my thing. Or if you say, I just got some bad news, now we can talk about it. Now I know it ain't about me.
Yeah, I think I just
want to know it ain't about me.
That's what he always asks me. Yeah. He asks me, what's wrong? And then if I say nothing or something, then he asks, did I do something wrong? And then once I say no, he kind of like falls back a little bit.
Clear.
Then you'll come back and ask again.
Because now I'm interested to know, okay, if it ain't me.
But I think you be wanting me to figure it out. Like, did you reflect yet? Like, do you know what it is yet?
Because it's important. I have learned not to be a fixer. I don't want to fix. Yeah. I want to I want to help. You know, if I can help, we can talk about it. Yeah. You know, whatever it might be, cool. Yeah. But I don't want to fix because fixing doesn't teach my. You know, if it's me, you fixing my issue don't teach me about how to solve it, and it doesn't fix you if you got it going through it. So I'd much rather the person deal with themselves.
Right. And so I think you've learned, though, that if I say, I don't know what's wrong, I'm just feeling a certain kind of way, that he'll let that be. Because he knows, okay, she might be on her cycle might be coming, or she just got off of it, or...
Cyclone.
Or the fact that she has to take artificial birth control.
See, she's yelling. See?
This is the thing. Ladies, this is my whole thing. I'm just over having to take synthetic medication. What?
Just saying.
He's over here mouthing stuff for all of our podcast listeners.
Okay. Nonetheless, listen, I think we're going to have to do a part 2.
Yeah, we're going to have to. We're absolutely going to have to.
So thank y'all so much for those who did watch this. Listen, stay tuned. We have more coming. And if you do, again, have any show ideas that you want to see or that you want to hear from as you're listening to the podcast, please let us know. You can, of course, hit us up on social media at The Fresh Life Brand on Instagram. And you can also hit us up on our individual Instagrams. Mine is at Chris Marvell, and Jasmine's is
at Mrs. Jasmine Marie.
And so again, continue to stay tuned. We got some other dope stuff coming up very, 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 very soon. We're looking to arrive in the United States very soon. So stay tuned.
Oh yes. And last but not least, our part 2, listen out for it. I'm going to definitely be talking about how ADHD has affected our marriage and the things that we've done to overcome it. We love our listeners. We love all our fresh lifers. Thank you guys. I love the energy that you're putting forth. I'm loving the wins and the hard things for today. So keep that up. We love seeing the energy and you being productive and smashing your goals. So take care.
Thank y'all.